Yo, patrons! This is Johannes from Noisebud, and today I'm uploading an update for BassGlove. It's BassGlove 1.6. And I thought let's start with just showing you what BassGlove is made for, and then we start to talk about the changes that I made and stuff like that. So, alright, I'm gonna play this song, and we start with BassGlove at 0, and I'm gonna start to raise the amount knob until it's at max, and then I bypass and see if you can hear if it's gone. And if you don't sit in a studio with a subwoofer or a main system that goes low, put on your headphones so that you actually can hear the low end, because we are working with the transients of the kick. All right, here we go.
I could be a man all night. I could put your dreams to life. I could be a man all night. I could put your dreams to the light. I can make this shit take flight. I can run your scheme for a price. I'ma mix the lean with the Sprite. Just tonight, where's that real shit? I arrive just in time. Zolin touch the mic and it's sublime. These pussies lying when they rhyme, talking all this fucking crime. When they said you do a dime, you got to sing and Amy Wine. No, we aiming for the head and spine. Zolin down to sabotage. Ask my mom, I never lied.
Hopefully you could hear that we could find the kick and boost that by too much, because I'm overdoing everything when I'm doing demos. But we could get some of that 808 back and make it feel really big and huge. So that was this is what BassGlove is for. This track is actually it's a good master. So maybe you don't need to do anything with it. So it's a master 5 that I'm demo this with, just for transparency. The thing is that it's a classic master in the sense that you have gone for loudness over low end, and it's pretty common, especially in all genres where you're trying to you're really trying to be loud. It could be hip hop or pop stuff, that kind of chart music stuff, or it can also be music for clubs, because in clubs the subs in clubs are often boosted, so they're not really flat spectrum. So you boost the subs on purpose to get more low end out of masters, which means that you in the master you don't need as much low end, because you know you will get that in the club anyway. So then you can use that to gain a little bit of loudness, that headroom that low end takes. But for me, I don't like that. For me, it sounds thin. I want it warm. I want 808s to take too much space in a mix. I'm fine with a master that sounds like a dB less loud, or maybe even 2 decibels less loud on things like a phone, because when you listen to the audio and you have a subwoofer or a great sound system, it sounds so much better. So this is why I made BassGlove. So when I get mixes that are pushed too much, where too much low end has gone away, then you can get that some of that energy in, especially kicks, get that back. That's what BassGlove is for. All right, let's talk a little bit about the changes in this plugin. So we have two new buttons here, limit and comp. Limit is a pretty aggressive clipper limiter. It's the same as in bass flip, but without the soft clipping algorithm. So it will add distortion. It will distort at the highest peaks. It's just the way it is. And how it works is that it measures the peaks of the incoming audio, and it applies that as a threshold for the outgoing. So it tries to keep the peaks at the same level as the incoming audio. It works great sometimes, and it's way too audible at other times. It's oversampled 4 times, so it won't create aliasing, or at least not that much. And so it's pretty transparent in that way. So when it works great. If you can hear it, then just turn it off and use a normal limiter post BassGlove. Comp mode, compressor mode. That is actually the standard behavior from version 1.5, and it has to do with the loudness or the perceived loudness algorithm thing, because BassGlove will automatically compensate for perceived loudness, and in compressor mode it does that continuously, which means that it will react on every not really every sample. It's a window of 400 milliseconds, but it constantly moves with the music, so it moves constantly. And when you boost the low end, then it will compress the signal as the kick hits, but it's really slow, so you will still feel the kick, but then it will raise the level a little bit before the next kick. So it works like a compressor, and it's a pretty nice sounding compressor. So I wanted to be able to turn that on or off when it works and not work, because it works most of the times. It just sounds good, but sometimes I feel it's better to leave it off, and especially when you're not doing that much with BassGlove, when you're just adding a little bit of life to the signal, then it's can be better to have it in off position. So that's the compressor mode. So in off position, then it measures the loudness for a little while, then it uses the average of that measurement as a loudness target, and that works as well. Pretty when you compare the before or when you compare the waveform, measure the waveform with both these algorithms, they will give you about the same loudness. So both works, but they just implemented in different ways. In the tone control, it was used to be called open and warm, and that was true with version 1.5, but now in version 1.6 I felt that I wanted to rename that because I changed the filters a little bit. It's more spectrum dependent now. It will affect the spectrum higher up in tight mode, and in deep it will go further down. So you can hear it's almost like a equalizer that will put this like in the lowest position about 30 hertz and in the highest position about 120 hertz. So you can hear which part of the spectrum that's being affected by the plugin. And I added the grit control, and this is a control that will add a little bit of saturation at the transient, so it will just saturate the peak, and that can be a great way to if the limiter gives too much of clipping and stuff, so you can really, it's audible, then you can turn that off and use the soft clipping algorithm or the grit algorithm to, it will soften the peaks a little bit and make the things warmer but saturated, and add a little bit of harmonics to the signal. So that's the grit control. And the last but a really important change is it used to follow the envelope of the music pretty tightly. I changed that so that it would react to transients way more than it used to. It used to be lean more on the whole envelope. Now it's more towards the transients. And the reason is you usually use this with the kick, and I wanted to be able to adjust the length of the kick. So if I wanted to, I just want the initial 40 or 50 milliseconds to be boosted. I don't want the rest to be boosted. I can do that now, but in the earlier versions it was hard, because if the signal got too intense, then it kind of stayed and continued process the audio even though the kick has faded out a long time ago because you had like a bass guitar playing all the time or something. It's the algorithm that finds what it should push has changed a little bit. So those are the changes, and now let's play around a little bit with these changes and see how they sound. So let's start with this at max again, and I'm gonna bypass it, and then we're gonna try the different modes. We're gonna listen in delta so we can hear what the plugin does. All right.
I could be a man all night. I could put your dreams to the light. I can make this shit take flight. I can run your scheme for a price. I'ma mix the lean with the Sprite. Just tonight, where's that real shit? I arrive just in time. Zolin touch the mic and it's sublime. These pussies lying when they rhyme, talking all this fucking crime. When they said you do a dime, you got to sing and Amy Wine. No, we aiming for the head and spine. Zolin down to sabotage. That's my.
That was the compressor mode and the static mode. Tried those, and let's do the same, but this time instead of bypassing, we're gonna listen in the delta.
I can make this shit light. I can run your scheme for a price. I'm right. Just in where's that real shit? I arrive just in time. Zolin touch the mic and it's sublime. These pussies lying when they fucking all this. When they do it, you got to sing it.
You can hear that the loudness compensation is different, so it's way more stable without the compression mode, but in compression mode it starts to fluctuate. They both sound great, and actually in this case I prefer the compression instead of the static. I think it feels more alive and softer, deeper in a way. All right, and let's have a look at the detection algorithm. So you see the meter here. You see it go up when it finds a kick.
I can make this shit take flight. I can run your scheme for a price.
Let's play around a little bit with the shape of that using the release control. So this is just a normal release. It goes from 20 milliseconds up to 2 seconds, 2000 milliseconds. But you have a curve control behind that. So you can set the curve from, this is linear, and then it gets more and more exponential as you drive to this, to the right. So even if we have a release time at 2 seconds, and we put the curve at max, look at the shape of the how we affect the waveform, and you can see that on the meter. I'm gonna change both the release and the curve while I'm playing, so you can see how the meter reflects that.
I could be a man all night. I could put your dreams to the light. I can make this shit take flight. I can run your scheme for a price. I'ma mix the lean with the Sprite. Just tonight, where's that real shit? I arrive just in time. Zolin touch the mic and it's sublime. These pussies lying when they rhyme, talking all this fucking crime. When they said you do a dime, you got to sing and Amy Wine. No, we aiming for the head and spine. Zolin down to sabotage. Ask my mom, I never lied. I'm the one that they admire, blocking all that bullshit. Thought they told you I'm a writer, got it lit, don't need a lighter. Where I'm going, getting higher. I've been tired of that pussy shit. Like, tired of these kids that think they ever fit my shoes. You gonna lose. Summertime, flowers bloom. Yeah, I could be a man all night. I could put your dreams to the light. I can make this shit take flight. I can run your scheme for a price. I'ma mix the lean with the Sprite. Just tonight, where's that real shit? I arrive just in time. Zolin touch the mic and it's sublime. These pussies lying when they rhyme, talking all this fucking crime. When they said you do a dime, you got to sing and Amy Wine. No, we aiming for the head and spine.
You can see that you can dial in a really nice something that suits the track really well. even if it doesn't matter if it's techno, drum and bass, or hip hop, or R&B or whatever. You can find the length and the shape that you want with these controls. I think they're pretty easy to dial in. I often use a lot of curve and longer release time. I think that usually sounds better, but that's also me, because I like soft kicks that are huge, a lot of low end and soft. But it depends on the music, of course. Sometimes you want more a harder one that works way faster. All right, the beep function that will send. It's a synthesizer that will use the envelope that we have dialed in with the plugin. So you can, for one, you can hear the envelope. It sends out 1,000 hertz sine tone, so it's not that pleasant or musical, but it's a great way to hear both the shape of that you have dialed in with the release and attack and curve control, but it also can let you put the right values in the look ahead. So if we put this at the look ahead at 0 and play this, we'll see if we can hear that it actually misses the beat.
I can make this shit take flight. I can run your scheme for a price. I'ma mix the lean with the Sprite. Just tonight, where's that real?
I don't know if you can hear that, but it actually beeps before the kick. So we need a little bit of look ahead, and I'm just guessing that it's about 40 milliseconds.
I can put your dreams to the light. I can make this shit take flight. I can run your scheme for a price. I'ma mix the lean with the Sprite. Just tonight, where's that real shit? I arrive just in time. Zolin touch the mic and it's sublime. These pussies lying when they rhyme, talking all this fucking crime. When they said you do a dime, you got to sing and Amy Wine. No, we aiming for the head and spine. Zolin down to sabotage. Ask my mom, I never lied. I'm the one that they admire, blocking all that bullshit. Thought they told you I'm a writer, got it lit, don't need a lighter. Where I'm going, getting higher. I've been tired of that pussy shit, like tired of these.
Let's listen to the limiter. So we're gonna listen in delta when we start with the limiter off. Oh, that's the demo sound. I was supposed to talk about that as well. Let's talk about the limiter soon. I'm just gonna mention the demo. As you can see, I loaded the demo version, and you just heard the noise that the plugin puts out in demo mode. It's a low level noise. You can probably test a plugin with this on. It's max puts out noise 2 times in a minute, often just 1 time in a minute. So it's based on how much you use the plugin. So it's not that intrusive. However, I felt that I could make a better. There you go again, another noise burst. I thought that I can make a better demo thing. So I did this. Put your mouse on the demo and you just click it. Now it's the full version. But it's the full version until you reload the project. So if you try to render the project, for example, then it will go back to demo mode, and if you save this and open the project again, then you have to click that demo sign again to have the full version. This way you can try the plugin without the interruptions of this noise, which I think is great. And this is from BassGlove, the BassGlove demo, but all demos that comes later now will use this as well. So it's a better way of applying a demo. It's better. It's easier to test a plugin if you're not restricted by things, and this I think is a fair way of doing that. All right, let's go back to the limiter. So we listen in delta, and I'm gonna activate the limiter so you can really hear how it sounds. As you can hear, it adds a lot of distortion. If that matter or not, that depends on the music. So let's see if you can hear that in this music.
I can put your dreams to the light. I can make this shit take flight. I can run your scheme for a price. I'ma mix the lean with the Sprite. Just tonight, where's that real shit? I arrive just in time. Zolin touch the mic and this.
Yes, it's audible, and I wouldn't use it in this music. So it's important to listen to Delta to see what you have. This added way too much limiting. On the other hand, we're at almost a max position. I'm usually about max 50% in this plugin, so that matters as well. Actually, let's listen in Delta when we use the amount knob.
Just tonight, where's that real shit? I arrive just in time. Zolin touch the mic and it's sublime. These pussies lying when they rhyme, talking all this fucking crime. When they said you do a dime, you got to sing it. Down to sabotage, ask my mom.
Yeah, I think it's too much in this, even at 50%. It worked okay down here, but at 50%, I think it's just too much distortion, so I wouldn't use it in this with this music. Let's see if we can control the peaks a little bit by using the grit function.
I can put your dreams with the Sprite. Just tonight, where's that real shit? I arrive just in time. Zolin touch the mic and it's sublime. These pussies lying when they rhyme, talking all this fucking crime. When they said you do a dime, you got to sing and Amy Wine. No, we aiming for the head and spine. Zolin, that's my mom.
That's a better way to do it in this with this song. Yeah, what else is there to talk about? You can read about the soft control and the rest in the manual. They are the same as they used to be in version 1.5, and the manual is updated, and I really like this plugin. I will use it more after this update than I did with 1.5. I use it at times, but I often felt that the envelope following thing was a bit problematic. It didn't work in all tracks, while I think in this version I made it more universal as a tool to use in any situation where you just want to beef up a kick a little bit. So, and can I use, or can you compare this to like a dynamic equalizer or some multiband expansion thing? Yeah, you can do similar things. The difference with BassGlove is that it's based on two kind of filters. That one is an acceleration filter that brings down the high end, and that's what you're applying at the kicks. So you kind of give the kick more room than if you use just an equalizer or a normal dynamic processor. And the other one is a Gaussian blur function that will scatter the signal out over time, and by that make it more blurry, like if you blur a picture. So, and I think these two filters work better than when you do just trying to boost the transients, for example, of the kick, or use other dynamic expansion tricks. So I would try it out. And sometimes you probably find other tools that works better, but a lot of times I think you will find that BassGlove shines and will stick in your master. So this is BassGlove 1.6. There's both a demo and it's available for download for all patrons right now. So go and grab it and have a nice evening. And I see you with the next plugin. Bye bye.